You gonna murder this one and murder that one. Talking all that bullshit. I'ma put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me. I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Only Friends podcast, where only one ear in my headphone works today. There we go. There we go. We're back, baby.
All right.
We're back. I'm
we
joined.
asked you before the show if it worked.
Okay, here's the thing with my headphones. They always work, but this right here is a little bit
wonky.
It's a little touch and go at the connector.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't.
Need some electrical tape.
That's right. A little duct tape.
Yeah.
A little duct tape fixed everything.
Landon doesn't know about, a little bit.
Yeah, Landon doesn't know about WD-40 and duct tape.
No.
I do actually.
Wow.
Tell me more.
Enlighten us.
If something needs to be held in place, use duct tape. If something needs to be loosened, use the 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the only two. Those two things and a butter knife are all you need to get through life.
Got like a squeaky.
Is that
squeaky
so?
door, squeaky gate? You know, little WD-40 fixes everything.
Well, man knows. There's nothing in this world I can't fix with a roll of duct tape, a can of WD-40, and a butter knife.
Yeah, you're like MacGyver or
That's
MacGruber.
Right. MacGruber, yeah.
When's the last time you fixed anything?
I don't need to anymore. That's why I got rich. But if
did the trash trash holder get fixed for us?
Yeah, Leon fixed it.
Of course, I knew as soon as I used it this morning to because I haven't been home that often. I was like, wait a minute, it's not making that grating squeak sound. Leon must have come here and fixed it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You didn't fix it.
I could have fixed it
with WD-40,
with WD-40, duct tape,
and Leon,
and a butter knife. But instead, I employed Leon to get replacement parts and do it the right way.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So you could fix things the wrong way with those three things.
Not the wrong way.
Just a way.
A way. Right.
There are no such things as wrong ways.
There is no wrong way when you don't have the option to do it the right way.
Exactly.
There's just the way.
Yeah, you don't understand. Man, you don't know. You don't fucking know the things I've fixed with a butter knife.
What have you fixed?
You have no idea, buddy.
I don't think you have any idea.
Listen, it was tough sledding back in the day.
Name one thing you fixed with a butter knife.
Bro, endless things. I've fixed televisions. We're talking
any kind of electrical,
any electronic.
For sure.
How have you fixed the TVs?
Yeah, I've rewired speakers, everything.
How have you fixed the
remote
TV?
Control cars.
That's right.
How do you fix a TV with a butter knife?
I mean, you use the butter knife to take the screws out to peel the back off.
This guy doesn't know about the screws in the back of
he doesn't know.
Right? Where you had to put the little antenna, the little fork.
You don't know.
You can't
metal
ageist
piece,
me
then
like
you had
this.
then you had to use a butter knife, and then you screw it in,
Don't
and then you have
tinfoil.
and you put the tinfoil on the ends of your bunny ears.
Yeah.
So you can watch grainy 3 channels. You
That's
got
right.
CBS, ABC, NBC. That was it.
You just get
You're
letters.
lucky to get Fox. If there's a storm coming in, forget it.
That's right.
Don't forget the Spice Channel on those old cable boxes. Where like if you
it was all scrambled?
If you look at the squiggly lines, like every once in a while you can catch like half a titty.
When I was growing up, my grandparents had these really old. So cable companies used to have these things called converters, and they were like these giant boxes that you got that would convert from analog to. I don't even know if it's analog to digital, but like basically from basic to cable.
Right.
And we had these like weird looking off-brand ones. I've never seen them since. I only saw it. And thinking back, my granddad, he was a man about town. He was really popular, very well liked. Always had his hands in. I think he got some like fucking black market hacked converters because we had free HBO and Cinemax.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Never paid for them.
No.
Always had the Skinemax on though. And I think that like
he knew a guy.
I think he knew a guy.
Definitely knew a guy.
I like when we got the jailbroken Fire Sticks.
Right. Yeah.
I think that that was him in 1996.
Right. Exactly.
Big G Man was down at the club. Down at the Slovak Club.
I got these boxes.
And
I picked up off a truck.
That's right. They got this chip in them.
Hey.
You get everything you want for free.
$50. You know what?
It's yours.
Yeah. You never have to pay for cable again.
That's right. I'm very confident that's what happened. I didn't know that at the time.
No.
But now, oh my God, you
benefited from it.
You should have saw the remote control. They had These pop-up buttons.
Oh,
I remember
yes.
these.
They were so they were like punching in a like not even a calculator, but like an old typewriter.
Right.
I mean, they were these big metal buttons. Like, who the fuck uses this? It's 1996.
You know, like even before then, like in like the 60s or 70s, the remote control would literally be like 3 buttons, and when you press it, it would click, and that's why they call it the
A
clicker.
right?
Yeah.
The
Did you ever hear?
clicker.
You ever hear that?
I've heard of the clicker.
Yeah, the clicker. Yeah, because it would click.
Now
you know? Now it's just
to keep landing up with the times, I just click myself every time I press a button.
just so you can
All right,
remember
man.
your past.
Yeah, gotta have
Yeah.
you relive it a little
Now
bit.
it's just like you get the Roku stick on your phone. You use your phone as a remote, so you don't even need a remote anymore.
He's right. I don't have a remote for my bedroom
Man,
TV. I use my
These
phone.
kids have no idea
They have
the
no-
struggles we
They're
went
so
through
lucky.
just to watch
So
one
lucky.
show.
If I have kids, I'm gonna lead a double life. They're not gonna live in my house. No, I'm gonna have some fucking shack in the middle of nowhere
Mm-hmm.
where they're just like holed up,
That's right.
learning how to survive.
Yeah.
Stay hard, kids.
That's right. Fucking, fight off the roaches and then we'll
Mhm.
figure shit out.
Now, you turned out all right.
Yeah, that's
Fight
right.
off-
You're goddamn right.
Fight off the roaches.
Yeah. Hey, you want to eat? You
You eat that roach.
You flick that roach right off of that moldy ass bread.
Oh my god.
You don't know about living off of white bread and condiments, man.
Don't make them live the way you live. Isn't the point to have your kids not live the way you lived?
Nah, pass that generational trauma.
That's
on.
right. No, we're going the other way. Everyone's a little worse off than their parents now.
Right.
So
That's right.
yeah.
Stay hard.
You like strawberry jelly. I know all I need to know about you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to some poker related topics. Today's a big day. Finally, it doesn't matter what code you signed up with when you were signing up for ClubWPT Gold, Silver, Platinum, Golden, Goose,
Whoever.
Pass around the voyage. They're live, and everybody's free to get on there.
Voyage.
I don't fucking know, man. They have 27 different.
Club WPT Voyage.
Yeah, Gold,
Yeah.
Platinum,
Passport.
Pass.
Port,
Right.
to the sea.
Oh yeah, brother. To the sea. To the sea with ye.
So today's a big launch. I'm not sure. I haven't been on the site yet, so I'm not actually sure what they have to offer. We covered the rake last week.
Well, Rampage is on there, so there's that.
That's true. That's a little bit of rake back for you boys and girls. little Rampage dollars. It looks like they have a schedule up for today. At 2 p.m. the Ambassador meetup game. I assume this is all Eastern time. At 2:30 there's is SC the gold coins or the sweep coins?
That's
it has
sweep
to be
cash.
sweep coins, right?
SC is sweeps cash.
Yeah, so it looks like there's a 10K guaranteed tournament. Then there's a sweeps coin free roll, a 5K guaranteed tournament, which is an $11 buy-in. Sorry, an 11 coin dollar.
11 coin dollar.
They're not paying us. They are not paying us
Obviously.
to show for them anytime soon. This is why we never had to deal with Global.
Yep, this is why.
Yep, that's why.
Sure.
Nailed it. Then they have a gold coin tournament later on in the day. I'm sure they're still testing things. I'm not sure if they're out of beta or not, but bear with them, I suppose. Interested to see how this all plays out. Would love to hear them launch some rake back initiatives after seeing how high the rake actually is in the games. Curious to hear what the liquidity pools look like now that it's open to everybody. We'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell. On the day of the launch of the WSOP schedule, I happened to be perusing through poker Twitter, and the namesake, Michael Berk, happened to remind me of one of the greatest main event moments of all time. And so before we get to the launch of the schedule and Phil Hellmuth taking his ball and going home, let's reminisce of one of the greatest calls in main event history.
Of late. Started it during COVID. Researched a little bit. Because it helps rewire his brain. Stave off the anxiety from time to time.
Fair enough.
I too meditate, Nick, in my sleep. Does that count?
I don't think that counts, Ollie.
Well then, correction. I do not meditate. But I mean, I was a dog to be a meditator, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I wasn't giving it much thought until you know, shared that with us.
I don't really have the trappings of a man who meditates, do I? You should consider meditation.
Shut the fuck up, Ali. Okay? All right.
420.
Holy shit.
It never gets old.
You're going to get us in trouble.
Yeah, take me now. I mean, I'm Morocco out. Just kidding, of course, guys. I'm back. Ragazzini on the button. They can do amazing things. It just, you know, it never even happened. And off we go. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man, it's so good.
It really is.
It's just so good. The way, honestly, it's so masterful. The way that Ali like presses his buttons. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's so methodical about it.
Yes.
Just, I was a dog to be a meditator.
Take me now.
For being honest.
Take me now.
Then the long pregnant pause. You should meditate, Nick. Fuck up, Ali. Oh man, there was a time where people were positive that that's why Schulman got pulled from the WSOP main event coverage, which was later dispelled. It had nothing to do with that. But man, what an iconic moment in poker history. I mean, if that doesn't get Schulman into the Hall of Fame next year, I don't know what would. Like, fuck the poker resume.
Yeah.
You have the greatest call in World Series history.
Yes.
I mean, we'll play that annually. I promise. I'll run it back again when the main event starts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care, assuming we're still here. The WSOP is less than 100 sleeps away. We are about to enter.
Is it really?
100 meditations away.
Yeah, 100 meditations
It's
away.
really 100 days away?
Yeah.
Wow.
Unless I mean, there's a chance I got misinformation. I'm going off a Kevin Math tweet, but he's never wrong.
It starts. Listen, that's roughly what, 3 months? 3 months and some change.
I think so.
Yeah. So do the math.
Yeah. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Crunch
6,
those numbers.
March, April, May.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
It's just March, April, May.
12, 13.
Plus some days.
It's it's 14 weeks, give or take.
Yeah, that's 100.
Yeah, it's about 100 days.
About 100 days.
About 99 days, actually.
Yeah, right. Maybe yesterday was 100 days and today's 99.
I think yesterday was 100.
All right, the countdown is on.
Maybe it wasn't an accident that the schedule was released 100 days away. Might have been intentional. Who knows?
Kev Math knows.
The time is now. The time is now. And this is where I feign interest in the WSOP.
Yep.
For the next 100 days to get everybody juiced up to get you all out here.
You're like the Grinch of the WSOP.
One of these days I'm going to go deep in the main, and my heart's going to grow. No, my heart's going to grow 3 times that day.
Right. Only because you're at the final table with 10 million on the line.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I love this place.
Yeah.
We should do this every year.
God, that would be one of the most anxiety-ridden experiences of my life. Because like, if it had happened 10 years ago, I was so ignorant to tournament strategy that I would have just been living in the moment. Now I'm just going to be like, God fucking damn it. Right. What am I supposed to rejam for 22?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand anything.
I don't think so, though. I think you'd still be out there just mashing away and enjoying your time.
I mean, I'd have a good time. I'll tell you this much. I'd be on some asses to fucking pick up the pace a little bit.
I felt that way. You just felt for the Scoop main FT 2 years ago. I had no idea what was going on or what I was doing. I'm not much for like a regret guy. But if I can have one back, it would be fine. It would be that day. It'd be fine 2 tables of that tournament.
Right.
I'd had all of it. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, this seems okay. Like drag racing 10-4, that seems fine. You know? And then at FT, I was terrified because it was like a whole crash course thing beforehand with like Patrick, Espin, and Bowie. And it was like, I don't know what to rejam from button. When am I supposed to play calls? When am I supposed to not play calls? I literally broke down. I couldn't do it. It was like, all right, man, just like chill out, like just do your best. lose with aces like a normal person.
Right. Right.
It almost like took the pressure away.
Which is,
I mean, if you were an all East stable, he would have just
would've
played it for you.
They've been all over it. Like, man, you got 160 bigs with 2 tables left? Man,
let's cook, baby.
Hell
Let's
yeah,
cook.
brother. I'll give you that ICM value.
It is kind of ironic that when you get lucky to be in those spots and you're ill prepared for them,
oh my God.
it's almost certain that like aces are just going to get fucking cracked. Like that's going to be the exit.
I legitimately felt like I was going to do something much, much worse when it came to that FT.
And then they just don't let you.
And then they didn't let me.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a sweeping feeling of relief. Whereas, like, you know what? Even though I lost this pot that would have been for been 5 of 9 or whatever, and got some ladders and like the biggest spot of my life for sure.
Right.
It's like, you know what? No more pressure for you. You got your punishment out of the way by having to do this last night and try to figure it all out, and you didn't. You're done. You know. Just go to the glue factory. You know.
Send them out back. Put him out of his misery.
Yeah. Look at that was a nice little rabbit.
Put him in the bathroom.
Pet the rabbit and turn around and close your eyes.
Oh,
no good.
Oh no.
No good.
No. Landon making Lenny references is the greatest thing that's ever happened that no one will appreciate but me and Melissa.
Right.
Just go turn around. You know, there's a nice little rabbit over there. Go pet the rabbit with your aces. We'll be seeing you.
I'm so happy that you're leading into it finally.
Shut your mouth, man.
Right.
5 years of calling him Lenny, and he finally is like, you know what? I can get behind this one.
Right. That's
That
what
was
you have to embrace it.
I mean, sometimes Lenny moments appear. You know,
It's come full circle. He was a little uncertain of himself, and it felt really mean when we were doing it.
It was mean. What do you mean? What do you mean?
It was definitely mean.
This idiot.
Right.
It felt really mean.
Right.
You know exactly what you're doing. Rat.
Then he expressed that it was bothering him, and we stopped. And now he's come full circle to being confident enough to embrace the Lenny.
That's good.
It's not. It's here and there. You know, like some moments are definitely like that was definitely a Lenny moment of being way in over your head.
To be fair to Melissa and I would like to think that our comedic timing is such that we only called you Lenny when you were having a Lenny moment.
I don't think so. I don't know about all that.
No, because why would they? They wouldn't even be thinking about it.
Right.
He's like, oh look, he's doing it again. Let's call him Lenny.
He's doing the thing again.
You catch him eating fucking paint chips in the middle of the kitchen. It's like that's a Lenny moment.
Paint chips.
That's a Tommy Boy reference that you're never gonna get. God damn it, man!
See,
Your
this is-
generation's cooked.
See, this is the thing that you do. You know, you use references that there's no way I ever know them. You get Brian to laugh. So it's like, ha ha ha, he's so funny. Look how funny he is. I'm like, what is a paint chip?
Your generation's so cooked, man. You never saw Tommy Boy?
No.
God damn it! Maybe this is what we have to do. We just have to have like a movie marathon. Really, just run it. Like
Of Mice and Men is on there.
it might be
That guy in a little suit.
little coat.
Little coat.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I think that was Black Sheep.
oh,
no,
maybe
no,
you're,
no.
you might
That
be
was
right.
Tommy Boy.
Was it? They're,
Yes, 100%.
They're so close. The
but
overlapping storyline is so close.
Because Tommy Boy is like a like Black Sheep was good and it was funny, but Tommy Boy's a classic.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Housekeeping.
Richard.
Yeah, you guys are so
You know how
funny.
they have like, you know how like spinsters, they have like, you know, book clubs and they all just gather and they read a smut novel. Like we should do the same only with movies, like just terrible old school comedy movies.
Yes.
I think
Force
we
them
hit
down.
our
I mean,
smut.
I'm cool with
I
that.
think we hit our smut cap yesterday with yesterday's conversation.
Oh, actually, let's circle back to that before we get to the World Series. What have we landed on, Lamanna?
Brian and I easily
we
went like
thought about
another
it.
hour. Like
We thought about it a lot.
yeah.
So, and then I thought about it more after. That's
always good.
All I did last night was
This has
think
been
about
a
it.
real head scratcher.
Right. So my strategy would depend on whether I had to do it tomorrow or like, 2 months from now. Right? Because if I had 2 months to train, then I would definitely just train to be like to run long distance or whatever, and I would definitely do the 24.
But the difference between doing it tomorrow versus 2 months from now can only be the difference between running 12 miles or 18 miles.
Yeah, probably. Or 24 miles, right?
Yeah.
I think I would if I think I
I've
would
come
do
around
24.
to doing 18.
Yeah.
I think I would eat 24
Right.
donuts.
Like I think what I would do is I would the 6
You
I
do
would
the deed.
do the deed for 6.
Yeah.
And then I would do 12 miles and I would do 18 donuts and I'd do 24
You're
beers.
fucked.
Or,
You don't have a chance.
or actually, I think I might flip that and I would do 18 beers and I would do 20.
Brother, you're 43.
How many calories?
I've seen you
How
on
many calories
18
are we
beers
talking here?
before.
Listen.
At not 43.
Yeah, but like a 24-hour period. Like, listen, here's what I would do. Right, I'd start off with the deed a couple times, and then I would, then I would have a couple donuts. Right,
A couple times.
a couple donuts. Then I would do the 12.
You just run 12.
I don't think I could just run 12, but like if a brisk walk is what, 15 minutes a mile? Right?
I mean, a brisk walk is like 3 miles an hour.
Okay,
So, yeah,
let's just say like a little bit of
less.
jogging and a little bit of brisk walking.
Like 20 minutes a mile.
And I could do it at 15 a mile, right? So now we're looking at 3 hours of that. So like an hour to do.
Well, it's not about the time at that point. It's about being able to complete 12 miles.
Right. I think
Your body might just stop.
No, I think I could complete 12 miles.
Oh, you better have some donuts on
and
you.
then I do. I'm going to have some donuts on the way. I might even sip on a couple beers, and then
Electrolytes.
Right, and then after those 3 hours, after maybe 4 or 5 hours for all of it, I would just have to drink beers and eat donuts and jerk off. Sounds like a great day for the rest of the day.
I would like to.
I call that a Saturday.
Hell yeah, brother.
Oh man, this is America, people. This is what we've signed up for. So the World Series schedule went live yesterday.
Great segue, by the way.
Anybody want to buy my package?
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Ask me about my wiener. See more comedies you've never seen. Okay. It's live yesterday. Kenny Hallert put out his annual WSOP spreadsheet, I guess. He's getting better with this every year. So now there's a QR code to get you right there. I highly suggest bookmarking this page if you haven't already.
Yes.
This will... it's currently the WSOP schedule, but then this will include all the off properties that will be launching their schedules throughout the summer. And listen, no time more so than now is it important for all of you mid-stakes players to shop around. Shop around, invest your dollar in the best venues that are offering the things that support your games the most, because never has there been more choice. And never have places been more greedy. We saw the rake increase again, basically event over event for this summer's WSOP. Now, it's not like it's not massive, I guess, but there is rake increase. So I don't think I sent you this one, Guap, but I'm going to send it to you now. There we go. Okay, so... we all kind of anticipated this happening with GG's takeover. The WSOP 500s have gone from 16 to 17%, the 600s from 15 to 17%, which is strange that they differentiated between those two buy-in levels previously. Now they do not. Now they're both 17. The 800s have increased to 12.5%, which, by the way, I think that's like a relatively fair rake at that point. Yeah. All of the 1Ks remain 12%. Again, I think that's pretty fair. I believe at one point in time they were 11, but whatever. If you're paying a little bit of extra juice here for these big fields, that's relatively fine. And again, for what it's worth, I've always been on the side of the WSOP is one of the toughest things in this entire industry to run, and they deserve to take their chunk. So this whole when people are going to do this, we're going to hear from it at some point this summer where they're going to say, they're raking more than first place money. It's like, well, yeah, because they are paying less than 10% to first place.
Right.
Like, it's a math equation. It's not like, and guess what? When you play 1-3, the table's winning more than any fucking person at the table. Like, that's the way rake works.
Yeah.
However,
if it was a 300
intro
man
to rake.
Right. If it was a 300 man field and they're paying 20% the first, they would not be raking
Correct.
more.
Right. And it's like nobody seems to sit down and like calculate what the rake. Like, who's the biggest winner in this 1-3 game? It's like, oh, the fucking rake by like 5x.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's not the way this works. But it is worth paying attention to the fact that like there isn't any real rake breaks here from WSOP, so they are gradually increasing things. And I don't think it's gotten to an egregious level by any stretch of the imagination. 10Ks are still 7%, which is great. 25Ks have remained 6%, which is good. 5Ks are still 8%. The 1Ks are remaining 12%. The 2Ks and 3Ks are still 11%. So basically, most of the hikes are coming where the recreationals play the most. The 1500s have gone up by 0.5%, relatively unnoticeable. The 800s by 0.5%. The 600s are really where it hits the most. They go up 2%, but there aren't very many of them on the schedule. And then a couple of the high rollers have increased slightly. The 50K has gone from 4.5 to 5. The 100K from 3.2 to 3.5. And the thing is that that's not enough to turn people away. These events are very juicy. So this isn't even a criticism of WSOP. This is just more of a let's stick a pin in this one. Let's pay attention to the fact that they increased rake nominally this year and see how much of an effect this has year over year moving forward. If we start to get to the point where like 500s or 20%, like that just becomes unbeatable. Might even be at 17, I'm not sure, but I think 17 is pretty close to in line with industry standards. That being said, I think it's important to do your homework. Hallard's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for everybody here by creating these spreadsheets, and he includes so much detail into all of this. I'm not sure if he includes rake.
Honestly.
I have this spreadsheet open right now. I don't think he actually includes the rake, so you probably have to do a little bit of digging on your own. But it's very easy once you start to go venue by venue because it's going to be consistent. So the WSOP rakes we just listed out for you, they're not going to change event over event. They're going to be consistent to the buy-in. You could probably assume the same with like the Win, the Venetian, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, like I think if you're playing that low to mid stake buy-in range, it's really critical to be rake sensitive. You're not going to want to spend a lot of time at the nugget where you're getting pinged for like 21%. And I don't want to speak out of pocket. Apologies to the nugget if you're not actually raking that large.
That was the one that came to mind. Like I like they run great events and it's like it's good fields for like an off the strip property. But yeah, the rake is pretty high. I mean, maybe that for that reason they're not getting as big of fields and they need to like have the rake being what it is to actually be in operation. So
yeah, I mean, like, look, you can kind of judge an event based off the property, right? Like the Nugget just doesn't have a lot of space to run a huge event, so it's very likely you're going to get rake gouged there because there's no incentive for them to run it if they're not making a fair amount of money. Where like the Win, the Venetian, they have a massive property. They're able to
they're on the strip. Yeah,
they just have these fixed costs already set in place, so they can give you a little bit of a rake reduction or at least a competitive rake. I know I sound like a broken record when it comes to this kind of stuff, but like it's important to not just play for the glory of the look. If that's your ambition, then fuck it, get out there and do your thing. Like, but for people who are actually trying to make a living, to have a bottom line, to have a win rate, you should be very sensitive to this stuff. And if there's a really good 3-day 1K off property that is only charging 10% rake versus a 3-day 1500 on property that's charging 12.5, like that's worth considering. It's going to be relatively close. As far as the schedule goes, very similar to last year's. They've added a couple of events. It's 100 events this year. I believe last year was 99, if I'm not mistaken. One new event that Kessler is super pumped about is the Torse event, which I guess is just horse minus the Hold'em, and they've added triple draw. It's funny, I saw a lot of criticism of Kessler for pushing for this, and I don't know shit about shit when it comes to the mixed games, but I do know that I've only ever heard people complain about Limit Hold'em as being a very stupid game. So I'm surprised that there's like a lot of blowback as far as like
Jesse Sylvia's pissed.
Is he?
No,
I don't know. We can find out tomorrow. He'll be in studio.
Isn't that his game of choice?
Yeah. There is a few other new events. There's a 5K Super Turbo Bounty No Limit Hold'em. I assume that's a traditional bounty. I didn't look into it very closely. If it's a traditional bounty, that doesn't interest me very much. However, if it is a mystery bounty or a surprise bounty or whatever the fuck they called the 10K that one year, then
I think if it just says bounty, then it's just a bounty.
I think
they
traditional
would specify.
I'm very confident that traditional bounties should go by the wayside. I think they're very stupid. They just like flatten out payouts.
There aren't that many normal bounties though. They're mostly all mystery. There's very few stone bounties, like PKOs.
No, there's no PKOs.
Okay, you're talking about the Hall of Fame bounty.
I'm talking about traditional bounties. PKOs, I think, are great. PKOs are great. I think mystery bounties are great. I think traditional bounties are really stupid.
Just you bust the guy, you get like a third of the buy-in.
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah.
There's very few of those though, right? There's like the Hall of Fame gimmick one, which like I'm pretty sure they're always gonna have.
The Hall of Fame gimmick one. They added a 5K turbo this year.
Turbo bounty.
Yeah.
Oh right, they have like the super turbo freeze up bounty things.
Yeah, and they do a bunch of the 1Ks.
Those can leave.
Yeah, in my opinion, I'm with you. Those can leave.
Those can leave because the bounty becomes worthless when you get deeper.
Right.
They're worth a lot at the start, and then they're worth dust.
So it looks like they took some feedback. They changed the half mixed bomb pot to just PLO. So now it's a 1500 PLO double board bomb pot. Now what I'm unsure of is if they changed the structure from being a round of Omaha and then a bomb pot, so only one bomb pot per round, or if it's just strictly bomb pots. It should just be strictly bomb pots. Bellagio runs these like every Tuesday, I think. So I'm not sure if they've actually adjusted.
That would be a quick tournament.
So the notes I'm reading says it's okay. Last year it was called the mixed bomb pot double event, and now this year it'll play out in only a PLO format with the no limit hold'em removed. But it still isn't clear to me if they are playing like normal PLO and then a bomb pot, which is just added variance for the sake of it.
I'm guessing that's what it is.
Yeah, I think that's really silly. If you're gonna make it a bomb pot event, like you just play bomb pots.
I think if they would have changed it, they would have specified. They would have said
bomb pot only.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Especially it's double board bomb pot. Like people are gonna get play. Did you see this new event 59, the Battle of the Ages?
No, I missed that one. Battle of the Ages.
So again, I'm not certain of the way. Well, I guess it's very clear. So it's a 1K, and flight A is for 50 and over, and flight B is for 50 and under.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, under 50.
I like that.
Which is interesting, because then you just have the mixed group in the money.
And they combine.
On day two. Yeah.
So it's kind of like how Triton does their invitation,
the pro-ams,
right?
Yeah. I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Me too.
I think another interesting way.
Hellmuth will be happy.
I think that this actually has legs.
Really?
You know what?
So does this mean next year it's Battle of the Sexes?
I was just about to say that. I think that this has legs. I think that they can do a lot with this, and it shouldn't be overlooked as ingenuitive as it is, because this is a good way to solve the ladies event problem, or maybe it's not a problem per se, but
the conversation.
You still have the ladies event, like, or the women's event, whatever you want to call it, like still have it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a way to marry the two worlds together, because I think that there are a lot of women who don't particularly love the idea of a segregated event strictly for them, but they support it because they want to see growth within their own homogenous group, right? But they want to compete with the men, and even Victoria has kind of spoken about this, where she's like, she supports women's events, but she doesn't actually play them because she wants to play in a more competitive, or not in a more, that's the wrong way of framing it. She wants to play in a more equal playing field where it's just open, right? But this is a great way to do it, where and not just by sex or by age or anything that basically you can qualify on a driver's license can apply to this.
I don't have one.
You could do it by state. You could, you know what I mean? There's a million different ways to do it. And it does create a cool little wrinkle where if anything feels unequal at the start, you have a way of leveling it off.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of cool. Like, I do think it would be cool to see
locals versus visitors would be cool. So if you have a Nevada state license, you play
locals.
one, and then
one day,
and then anybody
out
else,
of towners play the other. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Yeah.
So my question is, because the men's pool would obviously be a lot bigger than the women's, like, playing down to a percentage of people wouldn't make sense, right? Like it would just have to be an actual number of people.
No, that's what you do. You play down a
Yeah.
percentage. If you play
Yeah.
down a percentage, then the stacks.
If there's
should
100
be
people, you
same.
still have 12.5%.
Yeah, everybody's in
Yeah.
the money. the
Versus
next day.
1,000 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would just be
One of them is just like a small field high roller. The other one
yeah, it
is
would
just an
just be
open
fewer.
field.
Like let's say it was 10-1 men to women.
Which sounds about right.
Right. So let's say 100 women and 1,000 men.
Okay.
Then like 15 women would make day 2 and 100 men would make, or sorry,
150.
150 men would make day 2. So you would just carry that 10-1 ratio into day 2.
I think it'd be kind of cooler to somehow get it where it's just equal numbers going into the last day or final table.
I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I don't think
It's
it would
actually
either,
it's
but
definitely not possible.
Hey, man, he's just a dreamer.
I mean, it's possible, I guess, if you made the smaller of the two groups pay a lot more, right? Because their field is gonna dwindle down so much further or so much faster or whatever, that them making the money. Let's say they paid 10K to 1K.
it just seems like the novelty of the event is that you would get to see an equal number getting to battle it out. Like otherwise, it's still a 10-1 ratio, which to me doesn't sound appealing. But that's just me.
No, I think the appeal of the event is that there is no ratio playing down to the money, right? So like the entire day one is segregated to just women, and that's what a lot of women are looking for. So they have a full day of play in a non-hostile environment, a very welcoming environment. It's fun, all these things.
And then hostility strikes.
Well, it's not that it's hostility. It's just like when the rubber meets the road and you're down to a small field, now you play a mixed event.
Yeah.
And it gives you kind of both worlds, where it's like the majority of the events, no matter what, if you take poker seriously, the majority of the events you play are going to be mixed. But it's nice to give them more options for a full day of, and you could do it a lot, right? Like you could do it pretty much any multi-flight, like not any 2-flight, but like some of these have like 4 flights. You could just segregate one single flight to just being ladies only.
Mm-hmm.
Seems very reasonable.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I find that one to be interesting. I think it's smart to start with age too, because there's no dispute there. It's just like, when were you born?
Right.
Nice.
It's just trying to get into a nightclub, man.
Amen. Amen.
They added a 100K PLO high roller. I think 50K was the ceiling of the buy-ins last year. They also added we already talked about the Torse event. They also added re-entry, I guess, to the 20. Was it the 25K PLO or the 50K PLO? Okay, so they changed the 50K PLO to a 100K event this year, and now the 25K. No. I'm not right. They added the 100K PLO. They also added a 25K half, which did not exist in previous years, to my knowledge. And then I think that they added re-entry to some of the high rollers that didn't exist before. So the 25K PLO, they added
2.
There's 2 re-entries, right?
Yeah.
And previously it had 1 or none.
That I don't know.
I've
never played it.
Yeah, obviously me either. I saw David Williams talking about it. I know D-Negs was a big advocate for the re-entry. Okay, so yeah, D. Williams says in prior years, if you were a world champion of poker discipline, it meant no one busted you. Okay, so yeah, it used to be a freeze out. He said the only exception being the deuce to 7 no limit. With these new changes, why is the 10K PLO the world champion and not the 100K, which is the biggest buy-in, or the winner of the 600 PLO, which has the most entries? So basically, he was saying that the 10K, my apologies, I said it was a 25K high roller. It wasn't. It was the 10K. He basically saying that all of the 10Ks are world championships.
And they were all freeze outs?
And they've all been freeze outs throughout the eternity. So he said, sad to see the true main event, 10K PLO, now has 2 re-entries. was one of the purest events left, feels way less prestigious and no different than the 25K, the 50K, or the 100K, which D-Negs pushed back very hard on. He said, PLO.
Could this be foreshadowing what's going to happen in the future with the actual main event?
Ooh, could it?
I don't know.
Maybe if they run like 87 flights on GG.
All of a sudden, it's like the main event is, 3 re-entries or something stupid like that, and they get like
I don't think that they'd ever
30,000
change
people
the
in
structure
it.
of like the main. The main is known as a freeze out. Like
Right.
you get one buy-in, that's your shot.
Yeah, but these other tournaments, it was kind of the same thing, right? They were all championships. The main event is the main event, but they were all world championships of different variations of poker, and they were all 10K freeze outs.
I think the big thing that David hits on here is that you don't need to add re-entry to this because there are 4 other high buy-in PLO events that already have re-entry. Like, why not have one uniquely different?
Yeah.
And I think you can say the same thing about the 10K main. I mean, look, man, there's going to be a time. I don't know when it's going to happen, but there's definitely going to be a time where day 1 of the main event is mostly played online and you're able to re-enter. Just day 1. But like you're going to be able to re-enter a bunch. And we're going to see the main event winner being in for 5.
That
Norman
feels
Chad is
real dirty.
pissed.
Yeah. I'm with Norman on this one.
I kind of am too. Like,
I mean, it's just like you gotta keep one, like the way it has always been. Like you can't just like change everything. Like let's just keep that one sacred.
Yeah, you need a little bit of purity left in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, I mean, we're just speculating that they might never do that, but like who knows?
Yeah, well, who knows? Who knows? What we will see this year is a lot more online qualifiers now that GG is leading the charge. So for international players, it looks as though they're going to be offering satellites 24/7 pretty much to the main event. Last year, they sent 1,000 players to the main event via its international and Ontario platforms. I imagine that this year it's going to surpass that 1,000. I also would imagine that they'll run events to other like smaller stuff.
I would think, right?
Maybe even to bigger stuff. They might even run like qualifiers to like the 25K, 50K, things along those lines.
I mean, the Colossus is more expensive this year, so you're going to have to satellite it.
That's true.
It's 500 instead of 400.
They heard me.
Yep,
finally.
They heard you. But the Gladiator is still there, 300.
Well,
for all the people that want to get in.
All the people that really want to play rake.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Listen, anybody is playing the Gladiator 300. They're playing it because, it's a very small buy-in and they want to win a bracelet.
The $1 million mystery bounty is $1,000 buy-in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the $1 million bounty, mystery bounty is 1K.
Yep. And there are 5 flights instead of 4 this year.
Right.
So even more bounties, even more.
Maybe was it last year 3 that they had 2 $1 million bounties?
Both years they did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
I hope they get rid of that.
Right, exactly. We talked about this before.
And do smaller but bigger payouts, if that makes sense. So like some more 100Ks.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Spread it out just a little bit more. So instead of giving another $1 million to one person, you can give 10 people 100K, which is very significant in a 1K buy-in.
Yeah. It does look like they've done more staggered start times. So like the Mystery Millions now is starting at noon. I believe it was 10 a.m. in the past, if I'm not mistaken. Well, actually, let me rephrase. Flight A starts at noon. Flight B starts at 10. Yeah, so basically it looks as though it depends on the scheduling. So there's nothing else on Tuesday outside of the employees event. So flight A starts at noon. That's the kickoff. It's going to be the Mystery Millions. Flight B on Wednesday starts at 10 a.m.
Some of you are going to show up at noon.
While at noon, the 8-handed 5K begins. So, an event I actually might play.
Yeah, instead. I know people will hate the start times, the early start times, but when you have these fields that are so huge, and you don't want to play into the wee hours of the night. Like, what do you do? Is there a solution here to make everybody happy?
I don't care about day one start times personally. Like, look, I'm not a fan of 10 a.m., but I don't care that much.
Yeah. It's the day 2 start.
My problem is the turnaround time.
Right. That's it. Right.
Yeah. And yeah, it does look like most of pretty much every buy-in below 3K, as far as I can tell, just scrolling through here really quickly.
It's 10 a.m.
Is 10 a.m. For all the no limit and PLO stuff. And you start to get like noon start times for the bigger buy-in, the exception being the no limit shootout that starts at noon. It's only a 1500. It's so sad to see that event kind of like fall off. They used to have a 3K and maybe a 5K as well. I think they used to have 3 of them every summer. Now they only have the smallest buy-in, but whatever. Not gonna complain too much about that. Like something like the Colossus, I don't care that it starts at 10 a.m. The Gladiator starts at 10 a.m. whatever, but the problem is that like the restart time is then like 11, and that's okay if you're not playing from 10 to 3. Right? Like you have to compromise the structure at some point. Either it needs to be faster, which doesn't seem feasible because it's already a fucking turbo,
fast,
and they can't fill seats fast enough,
right?
Or the line's already long, whatever. Or it just needs to be 1 day longer. Like, I just don't understand how you plan to get the Colossus finished in 3 days. Yeah. It's like, you know what you're getting here. We're looking at 20,000 runners, 15,000 runners, whatever. Like, just add a day.
Yeah.
Because these are the people whose experience matter the most. I mean, the loudest people will be guys like me. So, the 5K 6 max definitely need 12-hour turnaround time, or else I'm really gonna bitch about it. But the problem is like I'll be a customer one way or the other in some capacity.
You'll just sleep for your 4 hours and drink Ghost and be fine.
Well, it's like one way or the other. I'm playing there because something else is driving me. But for a lot of other people, they have better options. Like if they have the choice between playing a $500 Colossus that has 7-hour turnaround time between 3 a.m. and 10 a.m. or playing a $600 deep stack at the Venetian that bags at 1 and restarts at 1, where sure, it's not $1 million to first, but it's like 180K. They should just choose the latter.
Yeah.
It's not like you win the Colossus a bunch forever.
That's tough.
Scratch off. So yeah, I'll be curious about the restart times. I haven't dug deeply into the scheduling. I'm just kind of perusing through the whatchamacallit now, but everything's pretty consistent. It does look like they created 3 time blocks, whereas in the past they only had the 2. So it's 10 a.m. start time, noon, 2 p.m. and then they do have like the 5 p.m. Start times for some of these, like the shootout where they have a noon and a 5 for a dual flight. Good luck today, Landon. Best wishes to you,
Get him, Landon.
You're not even gonna be here for the Hellmuthian talk. Incredible. But yeah, I mean, all in all, not a lot has changed with regard to the schedule. Not very many surprises. Not a ton difference when it comes to the cost or the expectation. No big banner like, oh man, you know what I mean? Like we've been around when they announced the Colossus or the $1 million mystery bounty.
Yeah.
Nothing too major like that.
The same.
Yeah,
schedule.
Yeah, a lot of the same, which probably pretty smart.
Like the Battle of the Ages is pretty cool.
I think it's cool, but it's
because it can lead into a bunch of other different kind of variations of it.
Yeah, it's just novel. It's like it's not going to revolutionize anything. It's certainly not going to get a fucking 20,000 person turnout or anything like that. I'm trying to look really quickly to see if it took the place of a tag team. No, tag team's still in there. I would like to see them. I know I've said this in the past. I really wish they would raise the price of the tag team.
What is the tag team? 1,000?
It's 1K per team. I guess that's fine since it's only 2 people. In the past, it was 1K per team and it was up to 4. I know they changed that like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So maybe my complaint.
You're saying like maybe it should be like 1K per person.
Yeah, but like whatever. Yeah. I just want to see a bigger first prize. I feel like when Pads and Espen won, it was like 85K or something.
No, it was more than that. Well, maybe 85K a piece. Something like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, let's get into the real news. Phil Hellmuth quit.
He's done. He's out.
Can't take it. He's getting too old for this shit. He
literally is getting too old for this shit.
He's Danny Glovering it.
Oh my God.
I'm too old for this shit. Let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
Folks, here's a video I never wanted to make. So the World Series Poker main event, I played it every year since 1988. I will not be playing it this year. It's just too tough. It's just too tough. You know, people at home are like, "Oh, Phil, you can play 7 days in a row." Yeah, try it. Try getting up and playing at noon until midnight. 7 days in a row. And then they're, oh, well, today we have to play till 2 or 3 in the morning, which also happens at the WSOP main event. It's just exhausting, and I can't win. And I think that it really hurts the older players in a much bigger proportion than the younger players. And I'll say this, I had 4 great players come and tell me that they blew the main event because they got too tired with 50 left, with 30 left, with 100 left. It's turned into an endurance test. I don't think that the World Series of Poker main event is measuring skill. It's still my favorite event in the world. Don't misunderstand me. I don't want to miss it. But I know that I can't do that. You know, I'm 60 years old. I don't think I could have done it at age 50. So I think the World Series of Poker is set up as an endurance test, and we're losing a lot. And if you go out there and you poll the players on whether or not they should have days off in the main event, 80% are going to say yes. And the 20%, because I did a little polling myself, the 20% that don't, they're the guys who are 20 years old, and I mean 25, 26, 27. They're like, yeah, people get tired. They blow all their chips. Of course we want it to be 10 days straight. But I don't think that's what the World Series of Poker should be about. People getting tired and blowing their chips. So it's going to really hurt me to not play in the world's best poker tournament, the World Series of Poker main event. But in 2025, I'm out. I hope that in 2026, there's some changes made so that we can restore more skill and less endurance. I really hope they make those changes, because I don't know if I can do an entrance this year either. So I guess I'm just out. Folks, I love the World Series of Poker. Very important to me, but just can't play the main event anymore.
Wow.
So I was, what was your initial, I guess, thoughts when you heard this?
I was shocked. I actually was. I was like, this is Phil Hellmuth. How's he not going to play? And I think he's also, I mean, he's 60, which, is not a spring chicken, but he's also not like 90, right? We're like, I think he could still, I don't think he's going to die on the felt if he plays this, right? I also didn't hear a lot of the changes that he once made, right? Like, I think he did mention something about he
wanted a day off between
a day off,
day 4 and day 5.
Yeah, but like, is that it? That's all he wants, is one day off?
I think so, but I feel like he probably didn't think about this deeply enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think David Lappin offered the best solution.
Okay.
He said that on the off chance that GG/WSOP are flying the kite with this Hellmuth says the main event is too long just to justify reducing the structure, the obvious ways to address this would be to put a rest day after day 4 and to play 4 levels per day, no dinner break from day 5 onwards. I would take this one step further. I don't think you need the rest day. I think that what they can do is just eliminate the dinner break.
The dinner break seems very, yeah, I agree.
I think this is
unnecessary.
We've seen this structure play out incredibly well. Savage introduced it to the 5 Diamond back when it still existed at Bellagio. Mm-hmm. It was 5 90-minute levels, no dinner break for all of day 1.
Help me out. Is that 8 hours? Is that an 8-hour day?
3, 6, 7.5 plus breaks. So yeah, like 8.5 hours.
So you still get those little 15-minute.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll get 4 breaks throughout the course of the day, 15 minutes each. That's an hour. So it's an 8.5 hour long day.
Yeah. You can eat before, you can eat afterwards.
Right. Now for the WSOP, the breaks need to be longer because the fields are much larger.
Mm-hmm. 20-minute breaks is what they have.
Right.
Usually.
Well, day 1 tends to be a little bit longer, but forget day 1. We don't care about that. I don't think we need to change day 1 or day 2 at all.
You usually get a day, you're getting day offs in between those ones anyway.
Yeah. So we're talking day 3 on.
Mm-hmm.
I think day 3 should be the last long day. So it should be the last day that follows the structure of, I think they play 5 levels with
5
dinner.
levels, yes.
Okay. So day 1, day 2, day 3, this is where you're going to have the largest collection of first timers, people playing for bucket list items. I believe day 3 also is like basically moving day, where early day 4 you make the money. Actually, last year, did they make it at the end of day 3?
Day 4.
It was day 4?
There have been times in the past where they've made it on the end of day 3.
Yeah.
But lately, last few years, it's been day 4.
Okay, so like, yeah, day 3 is like basically moving day. If you bag, you have a really great chance of cashing. So first 3 days, don't touch the structure. Leave it be the way it is. You're going to be down to like 18% moving into day 4.
Yeah.
From day 4 on, now day 4 is very critical because this is the longest day currently, because of all the stalling, and not even the stalling, just the bubble.
Hand for hand,
the bubble is so
all that kind of
slow.
stuff, yes.
Hand for hand can take hours,
Right.
just to get like a handful, a couple hands on.
They show every hand. They make them wait.
Right. It's a big production.
Right.
It's very slow. It's exhausting. This is where I think you should start to reduce or eliminate the dinner break, right? So starting on day 4, you can just play 4 levels, no dinner break, get out of there in 9 hours, right? So 4 levels, 3 20-minute breaks, 9-hour day, and dependent upon the time that you bag day 3, the big thing is like you shouldn't be rigid now. From day 4 on, you should not be rigid on the restart time, right? It should just always be at least 12 hours.
Yeah.
Right? So, for example, let's say day 4 goes really fucking slowly around the bubble or whatever, and now you're heading into like level 4 and the bubble hasn't burst yet. Well, okay, very reasonable.
Well, that's almost unlikely.
It's very unlikely, but like let's just throw that scenario out there, right? Maybe they get 12,000.
Usually it's the first level.
Yeah, maybe they get 12,000 runners this year, or 15,000, right? Okay, so like they need to make a call. Okay, we're going to add a half a level. We're going to play half of level 5 to get through the money here, right? That's fine, because if you started at noon, it's only going to be 10 p.m. now,
right,
when that level ends. And yeah, people are going to be upset that they didn't get a full dinner break, so maybe you extend the breaks to 30 minutes. Give people a chance to scavenge for food. It's not going to change that much. But I think ultimately Lapin really nails it. From day 4 on, it should be 4 levels. Longer, you could do longer breaks if you want, do 30-minute breaks, even 45-minute breaks. It's not going to change that much. And no dinner. And now you're going to bag by 10 p.m. at the latest, at the absolute latest.
Yeah.
You could easily run a structure where you're bagging at 9, which now gives 15-hour turnaround time before the next day. Way more rest. You're never playing late into the night. It's never 2 a.m.
Yeah.
There's ability to play with the structure moving forward, where like you can add a half a level if need be. Even a full level if need be is still not going to take you past midnight, right? Like Hellmuth talks about, oh, well, you know, late in day 6 or day 7, there are these money bubble issues and, you know, structural issues. Like maybe we have to add a 6th level. And now all of a sudden we're playing till 2:30 in the morning.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, that's a byproduct of a 75-minute dinner break, you know, stalls in production and all this other shit that's very easily anticipated.
Yeah.
Limit it to 4 levels. At most, it's going to extend it by 1 day, right? I would think. Maybe it extends it by 2, which now becomes a problem because we're looking at a 15-day main event currently. So it's 4 starting days, 2 day 2 flights. That's 6 days already, just for the first 2 days. And now you have 13 more days. No, not right. You have 7 more days. So it's a 9-day event total. And also a lot of this, I think Phil needs to remember too, that the last 3 days are relatively short.
Right.
Or at least the last 2 days.
They break the final table up into 3 days, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Depending. Yeah.
Yeah. So the final table itself are reasonably short days. The long day is the day leading up to the final table. And then, you know.
There's always a day off in between the final table too.
Is there?
Yeah. Yeah. They make the final table, they have a day off, and then it's the final table.
Right. Okay. For some reason, I felt like last year there was not a day off. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely.
It wasn't always that way. And
right.
Like I think maybe like there was a few times in between the way they do it now and then November 9 where they did just play the next day.
Yeah.
But I think the last few years there's definitely been a day off in between.
Yeah, I'm not certain one way or the other, and I've already closed the spreadsheet, but I'll see if I can get it reopened. But in any case, I do think that like a lot of the things he's complaining about actually are kind of easily addressed if they just play around.
Yeah, main event day. There's a day off.
Okay. So that's kind of what he's asking for in day 4, and like I just think it's relatively unnecessary at that juncture of the event. I've made it to day 7. It was the most exhausted I've ever been in my entire life. I didn't need a day off after 4. I needed a day off after 6.
Mm-hmm.
Playing down from, I can't remember how many people came into day 6. Between day 6 and day 7, we came into day 7 with like 65 people or something like that. Playing down from like 200 to 65 was exhausting. I remember how late into the night we were. They were breaking down the Rio behind. I mean, this was 2010 when this was the final event.
You were in your 20s at the time.
Yeah, but even then, like I was like, Phildo, who's actually going to be in studio with us tomorrow. Big shout out to USC Phildo, Phil Collins.
Yeah. Really?
Oh yeah, he's in town.
Wow, nice.
Little Easter egg for you kids out there. He made the final table the following year, and I remember I was driving him to the Rio every day, and we were talking about like, you know, he was kind of like, it was like day 5, day 6. He was kind of like asking me about my experience the year prior, and I go, rest. You'll just never be as tired as you are as this event. And I think Phil is making it all about the structure. It's not all about the structure. It's the weight of the moment. You know, you're playing for so much.
It's stressful.
And it's so stressful. And every decision carries so much weight. And, you know, you're on the edge of your seat because at any moment you could just be eliminated from this lottery. And that really weighs on you, you know, and there's really not enough downtime to decompress. So I understand his desire for a day off. And I do agree with him. Like, it becomes much, much harder the older that you get. However, I think that this is much better addressed by giving a lesser structure. Not lesser in the sense that it's worse, lesser in the sense that the amount of play per day is reduced ever so slightly. Hell, I don't even care if they don't reduce it all. Run 5 levels. Mm-hmm. Just eliminate dinner break. If you just eliminate the dinner break from day 4,
it makes a big difference. Man, I played like the tournaments I've played where there was no dinner break.
Right.
It was so nice to just finish
8 p.m.
Yeah, 8 p.m., 8:30.
Yeah.
So nice.
And truthfully, like the compromise is probably that you run 4.5 levels from day 4 forward with no dinner break and the option to complete the 5th level, right? As long as that's the structure, I don't think that very many, if any, days are going to be necessary to add. And we're going to have a way more pleasant experience from the player's standpoint, which I do. I'll tell you, I posed the question of like, what was your immediate response to this? My immediate response was shut the fuck up. Like, just deal with it.
Yeah.
And I can't believe how much in the minority I am. I'm shocked. Reading Poker Twitter, he has the overwhelming support of just about every pro that has spent any time in the main event. And I'm really surprised to see that because the main is just, you know, such a special beast that I think all of us are willing to kind of compromise and just say like, well, that's the cost of doing business here. But with the industry shifting much more to these short 1-day, 2-day high roller events, small field events, even 3-day main events, like you play a 3,500 WPT, it's only a 3-day event.
Yeah.
Playing for 15 days with a couple of days off in the front loaded part of it, right? Like you get time off on day 1 and day 2, the time that you really don't need it the most. I think that, you know, he might be onto something here. Lewis Spencer said, I made day 7 at 24, and it was the most tired I've ever been to the point I was drinking 2 of those Dutch Bros energy drinks every day to stay awake. For once a month, Phil said, first of all, get your weight up, bro. You're drinking 2 energy drinks to stay awake? Come on, man. I fucking have that for breakfast. Let's go. Wait till you're 40. You have no idea what you're in for. Ari Angle said, most importantly, there should be a 12-hour turnaround time in any and all WSOP events between end of day and start of play next day. That's the biggest change I would like to see. So many of these prelims are unplayable to me because of the turnaround time. I would just never in a million years put myself in a position to bag at 1 a.m. and have to be back at 10.
Right.
Or even 12.
11.
Even 12.
Yeah.
Like, even 12. I don't care. Like, we're adults. We have shit we have to do. It's not like, oh, okay, you bagged at 1 and you have to be back at noon. You have 11 whole hours to like find time to sleep. It's like, no, I got to go home, shower, decompress, finally fall asleep by 3. Then I need to be up and I need to take care of daily responsibilities, dogs, other shit, whatever the case may be, and have to actually, live my life. So it's like, I got 5 hours of sleep when it's all said and done. That's not respecting the players in any capacity. It's not that inconvenient to add an hour to the turnaround time.
Right.
Give it at least 12. So yeah, I think Ari's point here is massive. I really do hope that Phil is a big enough influence here for people to listen. I think ultimately
he's got to be the biggest, right?
I think it comes down to Daniel. Daniel's
Really?
he's a GG ambassador.
Yeah.
GG WSOP are in each other's pockets.
If it's not Phil, then it's Daniel for sure.
Yeah.
I wonder how this whole thing played out. Like, did Phil go to them and say, "Hey, listen, if you don't make these changes, I'm gonna not play," and they were just like, "All right, we're calling your bluff," and now he's just like, "Hey, I'm not playing," and then just hoping that next year by him stepping aside and maybe other people following suit that possibly they will make some changes.
Do you actually think he'll sit it out?
It's funny. I told Brian.
People said no, but
I told Brian that there's actually a pretty good chance.
I think he will.
That he still plays.
Oh, I think.
I think his ego might be a little bit too big to not come make his grand entrance and do his whole thing. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know. I see him still playing.
Yeah, I don't know. Would he really just come out and say all this and then just he seemed pretty sure. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna play. I don't think he's gonna back out of it. But I could be wrong. And I mean, I get what you're saying. He might just be like, my God, I can't miss this event, and but I don't know.
I also thought it was kind of refreshing to see a very concise Phil Hellmuth. He was very deliberate in his
2.5 minutes.
He was very I don't know. I liked it. It was refreshing. It was it was good.
Yeah, I mean,
he's gonna play. I still think he's gonna play.
I think he's gonna play too.
Yeah.
Sorry. The trouble is that though his point is valid, it also applies to literally every other event, on the schedule.
Well, I mean, it does, but all the other ones are 3-day events. This is a 2-week long extravaganza.
Marathon.
So
Yeah.
It's I don't think. I still think it's a little bit of apples and oranges there. They all should
Why
have.
can't fruit be compared?
I know. Why can't fruit be compared? God damn. Yeah, but I mean, I think that there's a problem with all the events, and they should make these changes, having the 12-hour turnaround time for all the events.
That's I think the biggest thing.
I think this really shines a light on on how bad of a problem it is when you extrapolate it out to a 15-day event.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It being a 15-day long event is unique to it. It's in general. Mm-hmm. But the truth of the matter is, if you're grinding the series, you're going to play 15 days straight anyway. You just get to pick and choose a little bit better.
You get to pick and choose when you want your breaks. You're going to bust tournaments and then have the rest of the day off. So it's, it's different than having being forced to play 12 hours for that many days.
It's certainly different, but I think it all still comes back to that turnaround time.
Yeah.
If you just cash 3 events in a row, it's going to be equivalent to, playing the first 5 days of the main event.
Yeah.
And if you're doing so in some of the smaller buy-in stuff where the turnaround time is absolute dick, and that's the biggest thing is if you're really talking about worrying about your best customers as far as acquisition goes, you're giving the worst experience to the first timers because they're the ones playing the smallest buy-ins. They're the ones who are getting shit on the most with the big, huge fields and the circus that is the Horseshoe in Paris. Trying to, wade through lines and get a seat and re-enter and, wade through a line again and all this other stuff. And then they have to turn around in 8 hours and do it again. It's those aren't the people that you want to kind of send away with a negative experience, especially when they're cashing for $950.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we talk about this kind of stuff every year. I can understand why he's off put by it. I imagine he's really hopeful change will happen because I doubt he wants to sit out the main. But I will say this.
I don't think change is going to happen this year.
I mean,
it
anything's
seems
possible.
The structure's already, the schedule's already out. You think they're really going to smooth things around?
I think anything's possible, but I'll also say that I think even if he sits this year out, he won't sit out next year without any changes. Like, if nothing changes, I still think he'll play next year.
Yeah.
He'd rather play with his entrance, get all the fanfare, get the time on ESPN or whatever fucking network is being
He said something at the end about not being able to do his entrance.
Well,
did he mean
why would he enter if he's not playing?
That's what I didn't know if he meant like that, what you just said, or that like he's saying that like he's just not allowed to do that entrance anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe that's the real reason he doesn't want to play. He can't do his entrance.
Right.
No.
But yeah, at the end of the day, like the fanfare matters way too much. He doesn't give a shit if he wins the main event. I mean, he cares, but like not that much. All right, let's get out of here with a little update from LA. We got Conrad on the line.
Oh my. Connie.
What's poppin', fam?
Congratulations on your 14th place yesterday in the
good job, Connie.
In the 1200.
Appreciate y'all. I'm a little sad about it, whatever. We got in 15 bigs, 10s versus queens, nothing we can do, blah, blah, blah. Not the best. Not the
gotta
best
die when you gotta
situation,
die. Speaking of not the best situation, do you wanna comment a little bit on your experience out there?
Yeah, I do, actually. I got a lot to say. And, I lost a little bit of the fire because I had such a great morning riding scooters, eating breakfast with your boy Stu. But, all right. So, did you already touch on basically everything?
No, we didn't. We were just getting ignored unless you came on.
All right, cool. So, I'm going to start from the beginning. And the beginning was, we spoke on the podcast about, the guy cheating, trading, and whatever, whatsoever. And with the ring camera or whatever the hell the case may be, and
allegedly he had a camera in his ring. Yeah.
Allegedly, the alleged situation. So I'm a little on edge when I see that alleged person in the field. I'm on edge. So basically, I will get moved to a table maybe around noon, 1 o'clock, or 1, 2 o'clock, and I see a guy and he has his off-brand AirPod case on the table.
Okay.
So I'm like, whoa, excuse me, sir. Would you mind taking that off the table for us? And my man went off. And it's not even a guy that I think is capable of cheating. But I'm not.
Yeah, but those are the guys that actually are the ones that are cheating.
Exactly my point. So I'm not leaving this up to any whatever. We're not going to leave this up to interpret. I don't care. Take the shit off the table. He starts flipping on me, right? Absolutely losing his mind. I'm picking on him because I'm a big guy and he's little guy. Dude, I was about to lose my shit. I told him.
When have you ever been called big guy before?
I don't know, me neither. I was like, listen, man, just take it off the table and you can punch me in my face. He told me you punch me in my nose. So anyway, I was like, all right, listen, man. He's like, have the floor tell me. I said, no problem. So I walked on over to the floor and I politely asked him, I was like, hey, man, I have a man that has an off-brand AirPod case on the table. Would you mind telling him to take it off? So he seems very receptive of this situation. And, yeah, when it came down to it, he just walked past my table, told another floor about it, and did nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. Not a word was said to this man. So, whatever. I'm just now at this point. I just it leaves it up to me for interpretation.
To be clear, do they have any rules with regards to electronics on the rail?
Let me go on because I'm not exactly quite sure.
Okay.
So, I'm not going to leave this up to whatever. I'm not now for the next 5.5 hours. I am absolutely hawking this man every decision he makes to the point where homeboy on my right opens cut off, and this guy jams big blind. And I'm just, or it might have been button big blind. And I'm just yo, did you have a deuce or something in your hand? I'm asking him the questions. And he's like, no, I actually had a decent hand. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm on edge. This is something I don't want to be looking for and having to be whatever happened. What? Fast forward, maybe, I don't know, a couple of hours after, and they're doing the color-ups. Now, when they do the color-ups, I turn around, and I see a table full of chips with nobody near it. The guy's times, you can see in my video, I could have scooped whatever I want, really, in a sense. And, like, whatever the case may be happens. But it's like that should not be left there for, you know, for the pickings, for this even to happen, for a chance of something to happen. So
Right.
I was like, this is absolutely insane. So whatever. Cairo, by the way, bless Cairo, because I might have lost my motherfucking shit. So he's like comes up to me, and I'm just like telling him the situations, and I'm like, dude, how can this happen? How can this happen? Like, it's absolutely insane. So Conrad actually, like, I'm sorry. The last thing that happened was they took, so there's 3 clocks in the room, and like 4 clocks in the room. They have the small clock on one side, like, you know, the portable clocks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and the big clock in the middle, like on the big screen. And basically, it's like they take the main event off the big screen, and they put us on some side clock with like 4 tables left. And I just started losing my shit. I had never flipped out like this in my life in a poker room. Okay, what's wrong with you? Okay, what's happening? My shit. I'm complaining about it too. Like that was the smallest thing in the world. It's literally like as small as it can get. But at the same time, it's like, how could this happen, and then that happen? So screaming till I'm blue in the face. I've never yelled so loud in my life in the middle of a poker room. And like, I'm completely losing my shit here. So basically, Conrad actually comes up to me and like we start talking or whatever, and he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna forward everything you just said to management, blah blah blah." So the board was actually one of the guys, I guess, that was in charge of the board at the moment, walks over to Conrad, and he's like, basically, I don't know if he's like asking like if. I don't know what exactly he's saying to Cairo, but Cairo is like, nah, he's 110% right. Like, he is 100% right to be flipping out right now. And whatever. So then the manager, so then Cairo goes on the mic, and he says, puts basically an announcement that there's no phones allowed on the rail or on the belt, no electronics or nothing like that. So that was a very good thing that happened. And then, like, the management, I guess it was the poker, I think his name is Tom, and I believe Kaya came downstairs, and they came and talked to me. They apologized to me for 13 minutes while I was on break. And it was just like, they want to clean things up, blah, 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 blah. But, like, the big thing here is, like, they need solutions. Like obviously people aren't properly trained. You know what I mean? Like, this is a bigger thing than like one person. Like, there's no way that like you can blame one person. So like I'm pretty sure this guy is getting reprimanded that did the chip counter or whatever like that. And it's like, no, that's not the solution here. That is not the solution whatsoever. It's like, obviously you guys don't have a strict procedure to follow to ensure that nothing like this could happen. You know what I mean? And it was just like one of those things that like, I'm going to actually call the program manager, and it's like, dude, you can't like reprimand this guy. Like, it's on you. Like, it's basically on like the bigger picture when it comes down to it, because like there's just a lot of things that like people like I got ignored. I completely ignored it when I was going to take the electronics off the table. Like, and it was just like, dude, are you crazy? Are you out of your fucking mind? And like, yeah. So like now later on, they come down and apologize, and that was all great. You know, I really appreciated that they came down and they like showed that they do kind of care, and like they will do something to better this situation in the future, hopefully. But like when it comes down to it, they need somebody running the show. They need a tournament director. I'm not having a tournament director because like that's what I see in my comments of everything. It's like they don't have a tournament director. The last one was, I don't know who it was.
Justin Hammer. He left years ago.
No,
though.
DJ after that.
Who?
Yeah, it was Savage, Hammer, and DJ, I believe his name is.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, yeah, so he was their last one apparently. And like, basically the situation is like you can't let you have to have some like
Protocols.
I need to feel safe as a player. You know, like I didn't feel safe as a player at all whatsoever, and that's when I had lost my shit. I lost it. Like I can't tell you guys how much I lost it. I was blue in the face, screaming at the top of my lungs. Like, you
why don't we videotape that?
You have no. I could have been. I lost it. I was just like, dude, this can't be real life. And I snapped. I'm actually not proud of the way I snapped, but like I'm also happy that like it might. Well, sure, it took me to snap for something that might cause a change in the future. And if that's what needed to happen, then that's what needed to happen. But like I love poker, and like yeah, I was asked to take the post out, and there's 0% chance I would do it. Like 0, because like this needs to be seen everywhere, because everybody needs to like understand that players' security is number one when it comes to this. You're collecting shitloads of rake, and like how like what for what? Like just for we can have to police ourselves? That's not right. That's not cool. And like I took some real serious offense to this. I was not a fan of this. So
imagine if Men Wen was in the building.
Like imagine, like you know, I'm gonna say it. It is a breeding ground for shit. So like when it comes down to it, like you need to be number one in security, absolute number one, because everybody, you know, it's just a breeding ground for some bullshit. So like, yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not proud about the way I lost my mind in that room, but I'm happy that I did, because you know it obviously is going to get some eyeballs, and it is going to get things. And like I don't know, they need a tournament director. I love the place, but when it comes down to it, like I would go back.
Even without a TD,
I could go back for the 10K.
Even without a TD, like it just shouldn't be that difficult to have you know, standard operating procedures in place. Like I'm sure every one of these guys has done a color up before. Like this is clearly not the way to do it. It also seems like this guy's probably just operating solo when he should have a secondary helping hand, so he can only do so much. You know, it's not like he can hold all these chips simultaneous to coloring.
Exactly. He seemed like he was like the backbone of the situation when it came down to it. Like,
yeah.
And that's why, like, and that's my thing is like, I don't want this man reprimanded whatsoever. I want and like they were telling me that they have like stuff in place to have a structure in place to have it do. Obviously not, man. I complained about electronics on the table earlier in the day, and I got ignored. So like when one thing happens, sure. When two things happen, sure. And then when you do something stupid like put the 400 daily clock on the big screen while we're playing for 311,000, I will lose my shit. So, like, you know, and there just has to be, like, some, like, you know, I don't know, somebody in charge. Just somebody in charge, somebody running the show. Like, Charlie, we never let some shit like this happen. You know?
This would definitely never happen on Charlie's watch. That's for sure. Well, you know, I mean, LA, as we know, has been the shining example of above board operations, and they do a great job of really paving the way for the rest of the poker community, both live streams and MTTs, as we can see here at the Commerce. Like, yeah, I mean, it's disappointing because obviously, like, they have one of the biggest player pools around. So I think oftentimes those card rooms are kind of a little bit blinded by their opportunity. Like, they just have so much wealth and liquidity to pull from. They don't need to necessarily do things perfectly the way a lot of other rooms throughout the country would have to in order to ensure that they maintain. I've been getting texts all week with, you know, asking me if so-and-so was a part of the alleged cheating ring with the hidden cameras and such. So yeah, it's like there's a small group of them out in LA. They're always going to find their way into the most action where there's the highest traffic. So, of course, they're at Commerce during LAPC. Of course, they'll be in Vegas during the WSOP. Of course, they're in Vegas during WPT Championship in December. But, you know, by all accounts, as best I can tell, Vegas did a great job reacting to these types of players. From what I understand, most of them are banned from MGM properties at this point. Hopefully, Caesars will be quick to follow. And, you know, they are good at preventative measures, at watching over player security, hearing out the concerns. Like, we have our finger to the pulse of the game, where a lot of operators just won't. They're so insulated into being a part of brass that they're not necessarily dialed into what's happening at the felt level. They're not dialed into their dealers. They're not dialed into their players. But there are a lot out there that are. You know, guys like Savage are very much in the mix. Guys like Poker Boss Sean, he's very much in the mix. So these guys are able to, you know, kind of pass the message along the industry a lot better than those who remain insulated and believe that, like, their room just exists outside of the entire poker community at large. Like, you know, you're in a threatening environment in that case. And I do think we have to self-police a lot. Like, you know, the Bellagio has been very rigid about making sure that there are no electronics on the rail. And if there happen to be and players take issue with it, then it is just a matter of telling a floor person, right? Like, look, we're all going to set our phone on the rail at some time just out of laziness or habit or whatever. But the second somebody takes issue with it, like, it gets remedied. It doesn't just get, like, glossed over on and, like, a shrug of, like, this isn't really happening. You know, that was just a made up tale from all the way over in France. But it's not, you know, it is something we're susceptible to, and it's not like it's happening at scale, but it's something that we have to self-police and be on the lookout for. So, you know, it's unfortunate that you're spending time, energy, and hours on this type of shit while you're running deep in an event, but it's also good that you were there and, you know, you're able to kind of demonstrate failures when they occur, because that's the only way people are going to be held to a higher standard.
Agreed. And here's my number one thing that, like, really, really bothered me. It was like, you know what the response was to most of this? Welcome to the commerce.
Right.
What? No, absolutely not. Like, I don't care where I am. Like, it needs to be better. Everyone needs to be better. And like I said, like, I'm big on this guy not getting in trouble. Like, I'm huge on it. Like, 1,000%. Like, he might have not, both everybody, like, they might have not been receptive to what I was saying. They might have, like, even thought I was being brass or out of control. But at the same time, it's like, obviously, if everybody comments, welcome to the commerce on something like this, you know what I mean? Come on, let's get real. We got to get real here. Like, there's a bigger story here. There's a bigger issue here. We have to, like, everybody has to clam down and get procedures correct. There needs to be training, like, very, very good training about, like, how to proceed in situations. And, like, I felt wildly disrespected in a way. Like, after the electronics part, I was just like, all right, whatever. Now I have to sit here and watch this myself. And, like,
right.
It's just like, come on, man. Get the shit together. Like, I love poker. I love this game. I wanted to play it anywhere. I want it to be safe anywhere. Like, it's just like, we just need to be better. We need to be better. We need to figure out better situations. Have, like, player security number one on the list, and it's not even close. And, like, when I don't feel secure somewhere, when I don't feel secure, there's a problem.
Well,
like,
hopefully you have a better experience down in San Diego. I assume that's where you're driving to now.
Why don't you say that? If you are in San Diego, LA, or in the area, come get something with me. I'll be running good. I'm on my way right now. You see that I'm on, like, the 73 or something like that? I don't know. We're going that way. We're going south. We're going to get popping at the Hellmuth Casino. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have a blast. I know the floor there. We're great.
All right. Thank you for that plug.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck while you're there. Let us know
later,
if you catch anybody slipping.
Nah, ain't nobody slipping, Humble. We chilling.
All right.
All right, later, squad.
Good luck, Connie.
Bye, Connie.
And that rant has been brought to you by Tesla, Conrad, and some shoddy Wi-Fi. Christ, he said more words in the last 20 minutes than he has in 3 seasons of this show.
He had some stuff to say.
I just couldn't find a way in.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for us. We've run well over the time allotted. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. Special guest Phil Collins, not that Phil Collins, will be in studio, as well as Jesse Sylvia. So be sure to tune in. Noon, as always. We'll see you guys then.
Peace.